Alright, let's get back to the story. Busy with work but never too busy for my stream. Aw, thank you. How am I? I'm doing good. I'm excited to have something happen here, so I guess we'll see. Also, could you guys let me know if the audio's okay? I was fiddling with my OBS settings before stream, so if I mess something up, let me know now. There was no way I'd be able to sleep. I'm a little quiet. Oh, let me fix that. Is that a bit better? Like the master volume? Cranked it up as high as it can go. Let me see if I can fix it. Or here, I'll just bring the mic closer to me. I'll just project. Okay. As long as the background music isn't too loud, it should be okay. I'll just... Can I eat the mic? But yeah, let me know if anything is off, and I will try to fix it. When she hung up the phone like that, I realized for the first time what kind of situation I was in, as well as who the only ally who would support me was. I waited with bated breath for Shion to calm down and call me back. What would I do if the phone rang while I was sound asleep? No matter how long I waited, however, it never rang. Exhausted, whenever my mind started to wander, I would jolt awake as though I heard the phone ring. In the end, I brought the cordless phone with me into my futon and went to sleep with it in my arms. Though it still didn't amount to anything. Morning came, and by that time I was pretty sure she wasn't calling back. That was when a fierce drowsiness assailed me. Dang it. This is no time for sleep, Keiichi Maebara. I slapped myself in the face a few times. Then I went to the washroom and washed my face, which was something I usually didn't do. That wasn't enough either, so I even brushed my teeth. This man's? No hygiene? Shame on him. After that, I was finally wide awake. When Mom saw how strange I was acting, her eyes went wide. What's wrong, Keiichi? Are you going somewhere today? Yeah. To school. Keiichi-kun, you don't look so good today. Do you have a cold? I'm not sick. I just didn't get much sleep. If I space out and start talking nonsense, just humor me. I wonder what kind of nonsense you'll say. I wonder. Now I'm looking forward to it. I felt utterly shattered, and I still hadn't picked myself back up this morning. And for precisely that reason, Rena's honest smile was a sight for sore eyes. Yup. What's up, Keiichi-chan? Rena? Sam, hi! Thank you for the follow. How are you doing today? Good morning. Don't mind me reading dialogue while I chat. Feel free to reply anytime.
What? Mi-chan, you look like you didn't get much sleep either.
Mion had gone home early yesterday with a hangover, but she didn't look too good this morning either. Keiichi, I'm not sick, I'm just sick of you, Rena. If only he was. He definitely was in the first game, though. Pretty good. Was shocked that you weren't following. Aw, thank you. I appreciate it. Her usual cheerfulness was completely buried in shadow. Yeah. I went to bed at like 3. I'm a little tired. 3? Right after yesterday? Hey now, you can't keep staying up late. You probably read the first volume of a manga, thought it was interesting, then read the entire series, didn't you? Oh, I feel called out. I understand. I've done that before. I joked, trying to shake off my sleepiness. I was trying to be considerate. However, neither Mion nor Rena smiled. In fact, they didn't even pay attention. All I heard was "hey now" and my brain went to the lyrics of All Star. You know, I don't blame you. It's definitely like that sometimes. Rena's expression immediately darkened.
What? Wait, is it about the mayor? He still hasn't been found?
Nope. Hey, wait a minute. What are you talking about? You can't find the mayor? Even the classroom, which was normally bursting with bright, joking voices, seemed filled with a different sort of murmur today.
Good morning, Keiichi-san. Have you heard? It looks like something terrible has happened.
I don't really know this mayor person, but he's an old guy, right? Couldn't he just be wandering around senile?
The mayor is certainly not senile. He's a sprightly man who can teach both calligraphy and swordsmanship.
So if they can't find the mayor, would it become a nightmare? It certainly is. I like that. That's a good one.
He probably got lost somewhere, like me. A lost Rika! Oh, I want to take you home with me.
Getting lost is only cute because children like Rika-chan do it. A worn-out old man getting lost isn't moe in the slightest. While my mind entertained dumb thoughts like that, our teacher arrived. Everyone rushed to their seat. Good morning, everyone. Good morning! The class greeting was normal, but redefine moe to be old men getting lost. Ah, yes, adorable. The atmosphere in the room was heavy. Some of you may have already heard, but last night, despite the late hour, the mayor never came home. Is there anyone here who saw the mayor yesterday? 1 or 2 hands went up in the silence, and they told her about having seen him. None of it seemed to be vital information, however, and everyone began whispering amongst themselves. If anyone has seen the mayor, please tell an adult about it, all right? Now then, let's begin class. After that, the same old lessons began. The rumors, once quieted, blossomed in flowers again at lunchtime.
I could hear a few different conversations. They were mostly related to the mayor's disappearance. Summing them all up, I came out with this. Yesterday evening, the mayor went to a meeting at the Shrine's Assembly Hall. The meeting ended after the sun had fully set and everyone left. The elder's house was a bit far from the center of Hinamizawa. It was already late, but Hinamizawa doesn't have a lot of lights outside. Nobody saw the mayor after the meeting. However, because he would have been hungry, he wouldn't have taken any side trips. He would have gone straight home. However, no matter how long his family waited, he never returned. Some thought there may have been an accident. They left no stone unturned. They searched for the irrigation channels, to the water wells, and even in the rice paddies, but they didn't find him. Of course, there was a limit to how far they could search in the middle of the night. The police were going to wait for daylight, then have the young men of the town help search. If after all that they still didn't find him, they were apparently even going to go looking in the mountains. Even now, at this moment, the adults were probably all searching for him. The more they searched in vain, and the more time passed. The only thing that came to mind was the curse. It seems like a long time ago I was hoping John Cena was someone's uncle in this game. Yeah, for sure. It's been a while. The rumors of Onikakushi, of the demoning away. Had he become this year's sacrifice to Oyashiro-sama's curse, which had recently been occurring every year? That scary possibility, which everybody thought about, but nobody could say aloud, was slowly but surely spreading throughout the village. Was he demoned away, and offered as a sacrifice to quell Oyashiro-sama's anger? My classmates were whispering to each other that the curse didn't happen this year, so there shouldn't have been any sacrifices. I, on the other hand, I knew. The curse did happen again this year, and there were 2 people that died. This may sound strange, but I hadn't exactly thought the elder would be the one to go missing. My reason was clear. Shion and I should have been a higher priority than him. The 4 of us were thieves that broke the taboo and set foot into the sacred ritual storehouse. If Tomitake-san and Takano-san had suffered mysterious deaths, then it should have been Mai and Shion's turn next. This time should have been Shion and me, eh? I laughed painfully to myself. I'd yelled at Shion over the phone that I didn't want to end up in such a terrifying situation. But now that someone other than me had disappeared, I could only think that I should have been the first to go. Onikafuchi, the bottomless swamp, said to have been the place where they drowned sacrifices long ago. Just as it ran through my thoughts, the villagers must have also considered the swamp. Maybe police divers were plumbing its depths even now. They probably wouldn't find anyone. Not a single missing person had ever been found. You've yeed your last haw, that is true. Well, isn't he self-important? You don't need an excuse to True. And it's just one guy, right? There's still due one more person to disappear. It could still be you, Keiichi. You're just second. They'd always suspected Onikafuchi, but not once have they ever turned up a corpse from it. After all, it was a devilish, bottomless swamp from which no one who sinks can ever return. I could hear someone telling their friend that in the classroom. Now that you mention it, Satoshi-san. He left around this time last year, didn't he? Huh? Satoshi? I've heard that name before. He was... right. He disappeared because of last year's curse. The conversation was happening in the seat next to me, so I could hear it clearly. Didn't we search the whole village like this for Satoshi-san too? We didn't find him either. What did we decide that was? A demoning away, right? Yeah. I heard he withdrew all his savings and ran away from home. Someone from the police said there was someone who saw him get on the bullet train in Nagoya Station. Wait, then he didn't disappear? He just ran away? What? Ran away, huh? I wasn't that interested in the reason, which seemed understandable in this case. Everyone else who disappeared had their own reasons too. Either they were still on the run because they were criminals, or they were a corpse that couldn't be found. Go to Kyoto, that place is cool. Maybe he did. It's not like any of them suddenly disappeared into thin air for no reason. But they disappeared. Someone disappeared whenever the curse took a life, as if by design. They may have had various understandable reasons, but they still disappeared. From that point of view, it really might have been a demoning away this time. The mayor's disappearance was the first such incident without a clear reason behind it. Of course, coming to that realization didn't help to resolve anything. Oh!
It looks like I messed up the seasoning today. Sorry.
Normally, Rena's lunch would have been devoured immediately, but today there was still a ton left. That wasn't because Rena's lunch didn't taste good or anything, though.
That isn't the case. Your lunch today is as delicious as always.
Satoko dips her chopsticks into Rena's bento box and pulls bits of food out, one after the other.
Yes, delicious indeed.
Rena killed the mayor, I'm calling it. I mean, I wouldn't put it past her. She's crazy. I love how the concept is the whole town is in on the murders, yet they're all depressed. It's to prevent people from thinking that they're sus, I guess. But, like, yeah, I don't know. Her seasoning was off. Oh no, the implications of that. I hope it's not meat in this bento.
Today in particular, in fact.
Chomp chomp.
Huh? You know those are pumpkin croquettes, right? Are you okay? Yes. If it's your pumpkin, then it's delicious.
Did Satoko dislike pumpkin? Regardless, she forced herself to smile and shoved more into her mouth. Everyone knew. Nobody's lunch tasted very good today. Satoko kept shoveling it down, repeating her remark on how good it was. If it's that good, then I guess I've gotta have some too. Satoko's gonna eat it all if we let her. The random zoom in on care. It is, I know, it gets me every time. It's not even scary, it's just like, why are they so close? Like this. No personal space.
It's just so good, so I would certainly like it if Keiichi-san were to eat some as well.
Well, sometimes I have to show my adult generosity, right? Okay, don't hold back on my account. Eat enough for the both of us today. I should make my VTuber zoom in too for the drama. That's as far as I can go. Should I keep it like this? It's just as cursed. I think I'll keep it at the Yes, keep it. Here, I'll do this. Bigger than usual. Manifest something happening by being zoomed in like they do. We hope so. Can set up a zoom hotkey in VTube Studio? Yeah, I'll have to do that. I'll fiddle around with settings eventually. She really, really hated pumpkin, didn't she? That made it all the more touching to see Satoko's own brand of generosity. I grabbed her head and started stroking it. Satoko, in a somewhat exaggerated fashion, was bawling, tears streaming down her face. No way. You'll never grow up if you give away such good food. Rena, you eat too. I only have leftover vegetable stew, but it tastes great after having sat overnight. Sat overnight. I can read.
Yeah. The daikon radish has such a pretty color going through it. It looks delicious.
Or she could just not eat the pumpkin, I know. She could leave that and eat everything else.
I guess I'll have some then.
Rena reached out with her chopsticks. And at last, the usual lunchtime atmosphere began to return. That was only at our desks, however. The dark tales of Oyashiro-sama's curse, which had recurred for 5 years in a row, didn't cease. The whole classroom remained stuck in this somber mood. Oyashiro-sama's curse had happened for 5 years straight. Everyone had wanted the previous year to be the last. What was Oyashiro-sama's curse, anyway? They were going to build a dam in Hinamizawa. The people building it were bad. So they were cursed. I would admit that much. Still, the dam project was frozen years ago, wasn't it? So why was the curse stubbornly persisting? I hit myself on the cheeks to perk myself back up. Everyone was trying so hard to brighten the mood. I couldn't go straight back to thinking about the curse like that. I forced the grim story out of my head. Driving Oyashiro-sama's curse out of my thoughts was actually a good idea. In the end, that meant I would also be driving away the most terrifying thought of all, that I could be the curse's next target. This man needs to make up his mind. Does he want to disappear or not? Mion's taking a while, isn't she? How long does it take to wash your hands? Mion had said she was going to wash her hands and left, and she hadn't come back yet.
She's probably taking a little afternoon nap somewhere. I think she was up pretty late last night looking for the mayor after all.
I smiled wryly and let out a sigh. Today was no good. Sadly, he has plot armor as the main character, or maybe not, I hope he dies. I think last game he did. He did die. It was at the very end, but he did. So he has less plot armor than other main characters, but still enough to keep him alive for quite a while. Oh well, we'll see. However much we tried to lighten the mood, things always came back to the mayor. It was just a no-good day. I had just transferred here recently, so the shock of a curse happening 5 years running was an unimaginably big one. Maybe I do need to appreciate that.
When Mi-chan was really little, the mayor would always spoil her. When she was going through her prankster phase, he loved her like his own daughter. She's told me that often.
I see. Mion was in shock too. Someone disappearing at all because of a curse was a very scary thing. If the sacrifice was someone you knew, though, then the shock must be 100 times worse. So, literally everyone except Keiichi, since everyone in Hinamizawa knows each other. Satoko, as if she had come to the same conclusion, bit her lower lip and looked downward. Oh, Rika-chan is taking a while too. Maybe they're taking a nice afternoon nap together?
Rika wasn't out that late. As soon as she yawned, everyone gathered around her and started saying good night, good night.
Now that she mentioned it, there were a lot of old people rubbing their prayer beads in fervent gratitude towards Rika-chan during the festival too. An image of the indulgent elderly came to mind. Had Rika-chan discovered a way to get herself to be pampered like that? Is there a reason the old people treat Rika-chan like an idol? Is she their ideal image of a granddaughter or something?
I don't know anything about that. But, I want to see Rika-chan yawning. It's probably all like, oh, I want to take her home. I don't personally think it's that cute. It's more of a gwah, and she opens her mouth really wide so you can see the back of her throat. Rika-chan's giant yawn. How?
Rena's handy at times like these. I finally managed a heartfelt laugh. Oh, right. I'm on day duty today, aren't I? I need to go water the flower garden. The garden is right outside the teacher's lounge too, so they can immediately tell if you don't do it right.
I think Sadako-chan is cute. Not only Rika-chan. Giant yawn. Can't breathe. Oh, I got a glimpse. It was so cute. Sadako-chan is cute too. I'm gonna take you home.
Rena was strangling Satoko. I don't think that counts as yawning. You know, Rena is... I can't say it out loud, but she's a notorious... censored, isn't she? Sweat. Hearing Satoko make a weird noise like a chicken being strangled was kind of hilarious, and I couldn't help but laugh. At some point, the classroom had erupted into laughter too. Maybe Rena was doing it on purpose. Even if she wasn't, this nonsense was a welcome sight. Anyway, let's get over to the flowers while I still have time. Why is Keiichi suddenly narrating? Wait, I'm confused. Slowly and quietly, lest I destroy the room's newfound peace, I left the classroom. The watering can was hanging up outside the kitchen. This building had originally been an all-male forestry service building, so there was apparently nothing so thoughtful as a garden here before. When they decided to have a school share the space, they built one there as a modest gesture of appreciation. Is she the notorious B.I.G.? I don't know. Is she? Oh no, is my stream lagging? Did my stream cut out? I hope not. Okay, anyway. But well, the flower bed. It was a little longer than you'd expect. It went all around. It went all over the place. It was so big, one would need to refill the watering can 5 or 6 times to get it all done. Whoa, what just happened? Was that just me? Or was that for everyone? Did my screen go, like, blue? It did? Oh gosh. Well, let's hope that was a one-time thing. Your phone makes the stream lag so much? Is it your phone or is it me? I think sometimes it helps if you lower the stream quality, but if it's already on the lowest setting, then yeah, I don't know. My Wi-Fi today is not great, so... It's the phone you had to switch from your computer because your class is done. Ah, I see, I see. Okay, well, that's something at least. Alright, I'll continue, but you guys let me know if I freeze. It was so big, one would need to refill the watering can 5 or 6 times to get it all done. I would make a visual novel and just have VTubers John Cena and the Notorious B.I.G. in it. You should do it. What's stopping you? I was doing this together with a kid who was also, thankfully, on day duty today. She was in the lowest grade though, and a full size smaller than even Rika-chan. I couldn't make a kid who would struggle just to lift a full watering can help me with this. If you were placed on day duty with someone who liked this sort of thing, they'd do it all for you, so it'd be cake. No point in blaming her. I give up. I'll just get started. Watering can in hand, just as I was about to leave the building, the old man from the forestry office addressed me. Sonny, there's a vegetable garden behind the warehouse, right? It's all just about dried up. Water that too, would you? Oh, you mean that curry vegetable garden? The one with the potatoes and carrots, and other things that are only ingredients for curry? It's definitely the personal garden of our curry-loving teacher, but making students responsible for its upkeep is getting them involved in her personal affairs. I couldn't say that to his face, though, so I gave up and decided to carry out my day duties. The sunlight out front was strong. The great chorus of cicadas was strongly underlining how nothing was different today than yesterday. I passed by the classroom, and I don't know how it happened, but Rena and Satoko were in the middle of a huge melee. While I was gone, the kids had arranged all the desks in a circle, forming a ring, while everyone was cheering them on. Yeah, that's how it should be. Once school ended, we would need to return to reality, where talk of the elders' disappearance would once again be all over the place. I wanted everyone to forget about everything and have fun, just like yesterday, if only while they were at school. In that sense, Satoko's whirling elbow and Rena's backwards flying spin kick made for a pleasant sight. Even if, as a result, they flipped over my desk. Ah, that's my pencil box! I'll just let it happen today. I set to work, hastily watering everything, wanting nothing more than to be done as soon as possible. That should about do it. No sooner had I thought that than I remembered that I had to water the teacher's curry vegetable garden too. First rule about Fight Club, we don't talk about Fight Club. I know, right? That's such a pain, but I have a feeling that it'll come back to bite me if I don't. I gave up, filled the can with water again, and headed behind the warehouse. This was a place students didn't like to go. It was always damp here, and you couldn't discard the possibility of slugs and pillbugs being around. Hey yo, what's wrong with slugs and pillbugs? They're cute. So when I ran across her in a place like that, I was surprised. Whoa! Oh, it's Rika-chan. Don't scare me like that. Rika-chan was just standing there like a puppet, devoid of life. I was the only one who was startled here. Rika-chan didn't even seem to react to my appearance. Rika-chan? Finally, she noticed me. Her expression was clearly abnormal. There was red under her eyes, stained with tears and dirt. There were blades of grass stuck in her hair, too, and her clothes looked as though she'd fallen to the ground. Ayo, who beat up Rika? Rika-chan? Are you hurt? Did you fall?
No, that isn't it.
Rika-chan said in the brightest voice she could manage as she rubbed her eyes. I really thought they were gonna say stained with blood. Not yet. Not yet. But maybe soon. She didn't look anywhere near normal, though. What happened? You weren't sleeping on the storehouse roof, and then fell off or anything, did you?
Don't worry about me. I have something I want to ask you, Keiichi.
Oh. Rika-chan walked over and clung to me. At first, I thought she was playing a trick on me. Eventually, however, I realized it was so that I wouldn't run from the question she was about to ask. I shuddered. What do you want from me? She looked straight into my eyes. Her upturned eyes bored right into me. It was as though they were trying to pull the answers out of my own eyes without actually asking me the question. It was scary, so I averted my eyes from hers.
Keiichi, did you do something bad on the night of the festival?
My body gave a jolt from its very core. Rika-chan, who was clinging to me, might have felt my shiver. A nervous tingle crawled up from my feet, and after going up my back and freezing my entire body, it made its way into my brain.
Keiichi, do you really not remember?
My head began to throb. I don't understand anything. Mion asked me. Oishi-san asked me. Shion asked me. And now Rika-chan was asking me. We thought nobody knew about what we did last night. But, in fact, everyone knew. This man's is gonna get paranoid again? Oh, absolutely. They all knew. And they came to ask me. Again and again, until I admitted it. When I thought about it, it was pretty clear the whole thing was out in the open. After all, don't Tomitake-san and Takano-san's deaths prove it?
Keiichi?
How should I respond? We never should have entered the Forbidden Storehouse. And even though I regretted it so much, was she saying it wasn't enough? However, I had all but decided what I was going to say. It's his own fault he's a bad liar. That's true, he could just get good. Just lie well. They won't know. I'm not exactly a good kid, you know? I've done lots of bad things, so I can't remember anything specific. Just as I had with all the others, I evaded the question. Rika-chan stared up at me with innocent eyes. Her eyes were so painful that I had to look away. After a few moments of mutual silence, Rika-chan released me.
I'm sorry for asking you something strange. Please forget about it,
she said, smiling her usual smile. Evaded? I was just like, maybe, I don't know. I'm a bad guy. Then, tap, 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 she went running off, as if nothing had happened. As she retreated in silence, I could feel her accusing me. Rika-chan! If she didn't hear my voice, then I was going to give up. However, she heard it. Rika-chan swiveled around and waited for me to continue. I was the one who had questions now. Still, asking any of them could just be a half-assed way of admitting what I did. Hey, Rika-chan.
What is it?
If everyone knows anyway, then I should be able to at least ask this, right? Why is everyone asking me about the night of the festival? That evening? Had I done something that wrong? I felt plenty sorry about it, and I only looked anyway. I didn't break anything, or steal anything. Really. Still, Tomitake-san and Takano-san, they died so miserably. Since those two had come to such an end, there's obviously no way it would forgive only me. Rika-chan cutely tilted her head in confusion and waited for me to say something. If I were to admit to what happened that night, though, she might suddenly do a 180, as if flipping a switch. That would make sense. Rika-chan was the Shrine Maiden. She was the least likely to forgive me for breaking the taboo, wasn't she? Upon reflection, wouldn't telling her be more terrifying than telling Mion or Oishi-san? Rika-chan could just give up and leave, couldn't she? She didn't. She only was quietly waiting for me to say it myself. Say it, Keiichi Maebara. If you really are sorry, then you should say so. Of course, it's normal to hesitate, given the crazy way Tomitake-san and Takano-san died. A pulping machine called Chaos was grinding up in my brain. The juice wrung out of it, turned into big droplets of sweat, which began to fall.
Keiichi.
Rika-chan suddenly straightened up, trying to pat me on the head.
I don't really understand what you're worried about, Keiichi.
I had nothing to say to that. I lowered my head a little so that Rika-chan's palm could reach it. She petted me, kind of like one would a cat.
Do you know about the big storehouse a little way behind the shrine grounds? It stores the implements we use for rituals.
My breath literally stopped. Rika-chan, though, wasn't acting in a coercive way at all.
Apparently, on the night of the festival, a cat snuck into the storehouse.
Cat?
Yes, a cat. Meow meow.
Rika-chan knew. She realized I was in fear. I could tell she was desperately trying to choose the right words so that she wouldn't scare me. Too late.
The cat always wanted to explore the inside of the storehouse, but I was mean to it and never let it go inside. So, on the night of the festival, the cat couldn't hold itself back any longer and went inside.
The cat. It was clearly supposed to be Takano-san. Or wait, was it supposed to be me?
Inside, there were actually lots of things that scared the cat.
Rika-chan made a cute gesture, like a ghost was coming out to frighten me.
The cat was both terrified and amazed. It ran away as fast as it could. Clatter, clatter, shiver, shiver, meow, meow. It was terrible.
This cat. Who are you saying it was?
The cat is a cat. Meow, meow.
Rika-chan still avoided saying it. The cat, though, was without a doubt me. Rika-chan, please, tell me. The cat. What should it do now? Maybe it was a desperate question to ask. Keiichi's a furry, that is true. Meow meow. I had sort of admitted to being the cat.
The cat is just a cat, so it can just keep meowing and everything will be fine.
Everything will be fine? That's stupid.
Shouldn't it just keep meowing?
Jeez. Rika-chan and I have put together an entire conversation, using cat as a code word. I didn't say it directly, but I had already admitted it. I didn't want to end up like those two. I didn't want to be a sacrifice, like Shion said. That's what I thought, so I stubbornly remained silent. But now, that's enough. It can't just keep meowing. The dog saw the cat making mischief and sneaking inside.
The dog.
That's right. It was the dog. It keeps coming to the cat and trying to get it to say that it snuck inside. After I said that, Rika-chan's expression clouded over. She was trying to hide it, but I'd already noticed her eyes darkening. Rika-chan. The silence was frightening, so I spurred her on. At that point, Rika-chan grinned.
It's all right. I'll protect the cat.
Huh? I thought for a moment that I had misheard those words, so dependable they were.
The cat is really scared, but it really isn't all that bad. I think all of the dogs are just misunderstanding.
Eh? It's not all that bad?
The cat is worrying too much. I'll do something about it for sure.
Rika-chan will do something about it? I don't even know left from right at the moment, so Rika-chan didn't look at all that dependable.
It might be hard, but I'll do my best. Go for it. Yay!
She clenched her fist and stuck it in the air. Rika-chan said that the cat could just keep meowing. She said to leave it all to her. Is that really all it took to resolve this whole thing? Will you really be alright, Rika-chan?
If I don't do my best, then something bad could happen to the dogs too.
I had no idea what Rika-chan was talking about anymore. She'd been talking to me under the assumption that I was aware of certain things. So at first, I understood her. Around the middle, though, I stopped understanding anything. However, one thing I did know was to not worry and to leave it to her. Rika-chan straightened up once again, patted me on the head, and smiled. I was so moved by that reassuring feeling that I couldn't help but start to cry. I'm sorry. The cat, it really was just a little bit of mischief. Is the dog Shion, besides like the general concept of the dog being the people who are trying to yeet Keiichi? I'm not sure, because I'm not fully following Rika either. I feel like, yeah, that probably would make sense. But then, didn't Rika say dogs, like plural, which I assume is the rest of the village? So yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's, like, multiple meanings. It didn't think any of this would...
It's too much of a scaredy cat. That's why it should never have seen the storehouse.
She was right. It was far too shocking for someone to see based on a little bit of interest alone. That's why they made it so difficult to look at in the first place, wasn't it? Rika-chan, what will happen to the cat? Call out post Keiichi's a wimp. He is. Rika's exposing him. 2 of the cats that snuck in. Well, that night I'd heard Tomitake-san and Takano-san's deaths were being kept a secret. Rika-chan might not have known about it.
Tomitake and Takano?
I gave a start at the sudden mention of actual names. Though it's weird to do that at this point.
You should forget about them.
My spine froze again. Forget?
Yes. It won't do you any good to remember those 2, Keiichi. The more you think about it, the scarier it'll get. So you should forget about them as soon as possible.
She said something so enormously terrifying, without letting the smile on her face waver at all. Let it go, turn and slam the door. That's what she's telling him to do.
I don't know where you heard about it from, but you should forget everything. Make your mind as clean as a scrubbed bathtub.
Forget? Rika-chan, you know, don't you? You know how those 2 died.
No matter how they died, it has nothing to do with you, Keiichi.
Rika declared this in a flat voice. Nothing to do with me. So forget about it. The girl before me, she was innocent and lovable, and even seemed trustworthy. But suddenly, she took another dimension. Don't get involved with their deaths. I'll help you, Keiichi. Those 2 contradictory statements twisted and distorted my image of the little girl in front of me. What about Shion? This man's really name-dropping everyone that went into the storehouse with him. What'll happen to her? It might have been dangerous to mention Shion's name, but I couldn't stop myself from asking. Rika-chan saw through everything anyway. There was no way I was going to fool her or keep anything from her at this point. Is this girl gonna kill all the other girls? That is the question. It's just a matter of which one gets to do the killing this time.
The younger of the sister cats? Meow meow.
Yeah. The little sister cat. Rika-chan appeared to think upon this for a moment. It was hard for me to endure even this momentary silence.
The big sister cat is angry. The little sister cat did something bad, so she's really mad.
The big sister cat. That could only mean Mion. I recall being questioned by her yesterday. Mion's gonna kill Shion? Definitely possible.
Keiichi, the big sister cat is not in a good mood at all. I think we should leave her alone for a while.
Not in a good mood. Those words sent a shiver through me. Mion was mad. She was mad that we entered the ritual storehouse.
Let's stop having club from now on.
Huh? I like how your model's just smiling while saying all this dialogue. Well, you know. Yeah, I have no excuse. I'm a happy cat. I am a happy cat. Why?
I think we should leave her alone.
Rika-chan ended her sentence with such force that I couldn't say anything in response. Hey, Keiichi Maebara. You're gonna get murdered. You're the cat. Meow meow. No, they're not after me. I didn't go into the storehouse. Or did I? Am I Keiichi? Oh no. Wait. Don't disobey Rika-chan right now. She's the only one who said she'll help me right now. I'll leave things to her, just as she said to. I mean, she even said that the cat should just keep meowing. I'll forget everything, like she said. I'll leave everything to her. I'll forget everything about Takano-san and Tomitake-san and what I did that night. Just then, we heard a bell far away, marking the end of our lunch break. I guess we should go back to class.
Keiichi.
As if she noticed how miserable I was, about to leave everything to her and flee the scene, Rika-chan called out to stop me. Either Rika's gonna kill everyone or she's gonna die. Oh yeah, for sure. I'm leaning towards die right now because she's trying to protect Keiichi, and that seems like a red flag to me, but we shall see.
If the misunderstanding dog comes to try and bite the cat, please tell me, okay?
The misunderstanding dog. She put it in such a cute-sounding way, but the true meaning behind those words was an eerie one. Who is the misunderstanding dog?
The dog that bit the mare. I don't know why it did that. If it was going to bite anyone, it would have been the trickster cat first.
The flow of blood in my body felt like it completely stopped for a moment. Don't go against the village, you're gonna die like the past families. Exactly. And Rika really out here saying, oh yeah, I know where the mare went. Rika-chan had admitted it. The sacrifices of that terrible calamity. She admitted that, if they were going to happen again, it would be Shion or I. I didn't know what was true about the girl standing before me. My suspicion gave way to fear and nearly began to change into anger. Hydrate and posture redeem? I just hydrated, but I will do it again.
Okay, I did it. Thank you.
Was she a savior who would protect me? Or a stranger trying to capture and kill me for the sake of a horrible tradition. I had no idea what was true.
I'm sorry. The cat is already scared, and I said something to scare it even more. I'm really sorry.
Rika-chan bowed so quickly it looked like her head had been pulled downward. Still, she was right. I was cowering. I could distinctly feel my body shaking violently. So when Rika-chan reached her hand out to pat me on the head, I pulled away without thinking. I'm Rika-chan made a very sad face, but I just couldn't bring myself to put out my head for her again. That day, Rika-chan said she wasn't feeling up for club activities, so she suggested we don't bother. There's always vetoes when someone doesn't feel up to it. Rena and the others seemed really disappointed. I was dancing violently, which is why my body was shaking violently. I was bringing back the Harlem Shake. I mean, he could have been. I wouldn't put it past Keiichi. He's weird enough already. The big sister cat is not in a good mood. I remembered Rika-chan's words, and quietly stole a glance at Mion's expression. If I could forget the way she questioned me yesterday, though, her behavior was the same as it always was. Oh, it's not the end of the chapter. After dinner, without the energy to watch TV, I climbed into the futon in my bedroom and let my head be overtaken by gloomy thoughts. I told Rika-chan anything and everything. She had seemed trustworthy at the time, but had that really been the right choice? Corpse party music plays. Yeah. Waiting for it. The more I looked back on it, the less I understood what Rika-chan was saying. Not only did she know about Takano-san and Tomitake-san's deaths, but she spoke of them as if she were a concerned party. After all this time, in my futon, I began to tremble fiercely. Had I been lured in by Rika-chan's sweet smile and told her things I shouldn't have? I should have continued to feign ignorance. I shouldn't have shown her such a weak side of me. My emotions are a mix of regret and fear, and it colored the darkness of the night with an additional layer of terror. Suddenly, a knock. I might have yelped. That's how surprised I was. Keiichi! I've been calling your name for a while. You have a phone call. It's from Sonozaki-san. It was Dad. I reached out for the cordless phone through the gap in my door. Sonozaki-san? Which one? The older sister or the younger? I don't know. Ask her yourself. I took the receiver and buried myself in my futon again. Hello? Mion? Or is it Shion? It's me, Shion. Good evening. I practically jumped out of bed. It was Shion, who I had hoped so desperately would call me back last night. Shion, sorry about last night. I got all riled up. I heard what sounded like a deep sigh on the other end. You and me are in the same position, aren't we? I shouldn't have blamed you for everything like that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, so please cheer up. I called you because I'm in a better mood. If you're sorry, then I'll forgive you, so please stop apologizing. Shion's tone still sounded a little angry, but for the moment, she said she'd forgive me. You're right, too. We're tied to the same fate. Making sure the other is alright is the only way to guarantee our own safety. Yeah, I agree. We absolutely need to share whatever information we have, so that we don't die like Takano-san and Tomitake-san did. I forced myself to swallow a solid drop of saliva. Then, let's continue from where we left off. You'll listen without getting angry this time, right? Yeah. I'll be fine. Firstly, it seems sneaking into the ritual storehouse was more of a taboo than we thought. Takano-san and Tomitake-san's miserable ends, terrible enough that you could call them a warning, was more than enough to make me believe that. The culprits killed those two, the ones responsible for sullying the storehouse, and they'll come for us next. I know you want to deny that, but please accept it. It'll be too late to believe me after you've disappeared, okay? I got it. You can never be too careful after all. I don't want to accept it either. To think that sneaking a peek at that museum of torture devices deserves a death like that. I don't want to believe it. That's what a taboo is. For those who honor it, if one breaks the taboo, no matter how small or innocent their intentions were, they wouldn't be forgiven. Keiichi should just kill Shion and then profit somehow, but if he kills Shion, what if he's the one that disappears? Unless he can somehow make her disappear. Let's report anything we notice that seems strange. If we connect all the tiny pieces that we have, then just maybe we'll figure out who killed them. Or maybe even the truth behind the incidents of the previous years. We could find the key that'll resolve everything. You're right. You're right about that. All I was doing was waiting in fear, but Shion had already thought that far ahead. Given how trustworthy she felt, I became embarrassed over how passive I was being. Then I'll start, since I suggested it. I feel like somebody has been watching me lately. What? It might be my imagination, but I'll tell you anyway. I think it's just me, but if you feel like you're being watched too, Keiichi, then maybe it's not just my imagination. Well, don't worry. At the very least, everything's been fine for me. I think. As I spoke with Shion, I thought back on today. I had no grounds to say that everything was fine. I see. Then I suppose it was my imagination. But you be careful too, Keiichi. Be especially careful when you're by yourself in public. I'm in Okinomiya, so I won't be alone very often, but you live in Hinamizawa. There will be a lot of times you'll be alone. Please be extra careful. You're right. Yeah, I'll be careful. Also, about my sister. Has she been acting strange lately? Your sister... Oh, Mion, right? What do you mean by acting strangely? Well, yesterday she came to me and asked me where I was on the night of the Watanagashi. What? That's... She asked me, too. The day before yesterday, I think. Mion asked me. I see. I told her I wasn't there. What did you say? I did the same thing. I just dodged the question. Both of us gave a quiet sigh of relief. Ever since the night of the festival, my sister's been acting strangely. We can't be too careful, so just be aware, okay? Mion was acting strangely. Aside from her asking me about the night of the Watanagashi, she hadn't seemed too out of the ordinary. At least, from my point of view. Her twin sister, though, was saying she was acting weird. Maybe it was such a slight change that a stranger like me wouldn't be able to notice. I mean, Rika said she was mad, so... Got it. I'll start being careful. I'll always have Rena with me on my way back from school, so I shouldn't end up alone with Mion very often. Please be careful. If there's anything that's bothering you, you can tell me. Alright. Okay then. Is there anything you want to tell me, Keiichi? My turn. That's right. Maybe I should report on Oishi-san asking me the same question at the library. Oh, that time when you were too slow to escape? Yeah. Oishi-san asked me pretty forcefully whether I was with Takano-san and Tomitake-san that night, and whether I had seen you. Oishi-san seemed to have seen the four of us together. From the police's point of view, that would make us the last people who had seen them. I suppose, given that, it's only natural that they'd be interested in us. I evaded the questions then, too, but that might have just made them more interested. There was no way I could have tricked that sly old fox Oishi-san. My troubled countenance would have only made him even more certain. Hey, Shion. Since they're the police, shouldn't we just tell them? I mean, considering our situation, I think having them on our side would be a good thing. Shion didn't answer right away. For a few moments, all I could hear was her breathing as she thought about it. Now that I think of it, Oishi-san said that there was something possibly shady about Mion. At least, I think that's what he said. Yeah, he definitely did. As I explained yesterday, the Sonozaki family holds a lot of influence over Hinamizawa. Oishi is under the impression that the whole village, with the Sonozaki family at the center of it all, is responsible for the recurrent freak deaths. The whole village is behind them, with the Sonozaki family at the center? Please don't get angry like you did yesterday, and just listen. I hammered that home before I got too upset. During the Hinamizawa Dam Wars, the priest who everyone was anticipating to lead the anti-dam movement acted as though he were unrelated, so the Sonozaki main house rose up to take charge. My sister told you about all the battles that happened, right? Yeah. All of Hinamizawa got together and fought as one. They held protests, brought it to court, and even appeared on TV. In reality, there were many things that happened that were far more extreme. Under the surface, the Sonozaki main house was doing all sorts of illegal things to oppose it. They were acting illegally? For example, they would sneak into the construction site in the middle of the night and steal equipment, or break it, or put sugar cubes in the gasoline tanks of the construction vehicles. Sugar in their gasoline tanks? Why would they... You don't know? It's practically the representative guerrilla tactic. It was used by underground organizations in France in World War II for one. When you put sugar in, the engine gets burned out and breaks down. That's pretty bad, though, isn't it? It was destruction of property, and nothing less. When they beefed up the guards at the construction facility, the family turned into attacking important construction personnel who worked there. Why didn't they want the dam? They want to preserve the natural landscape? So what the dam would actually do is it would submerge Hinamizawa and a couple other small villages underwater, because the dam was supposed to be really, really big. And so the villages like Hinamizawa wouldn't be able to, like, the water level would be too high and they'd just get drowned, all of them. That's why they didn't want it. The government officials who had been given permission for the construction, for example, received all kinds of threats. Oh, that's what happened in China with the Three Gorges Dam? Oh, yeah, that's probably where they got the idea from then, yeah. Not just people from the prefectural office either. Apparently this reached as far as the Ministry of Construction. As far as I've heard, they even kidnapped a child once. Kidnapped? Yes. The child of an important person in the Ministry of Construction, who was in charge of the Hinamizawa Dam, got spirited away. Ironically, the word sabotage comes from the French word sabot, which means shoe, which is a funny story how that came about. Shoe? I was definitely not expecting the word to come from that. Then, one day, all of a sudden, he was rescued in the Takatsudo Mountains, which are upstream from Hinamizawa. Apparently, there were never any criminal accusations, but people whispered that it had been a threat to stop the dam construction from happening. Besides that, there are stories about so many different threats that I couldn't possibly list them all. That's Wow, that's sort of bad, isn't it? Right in the middle of the whole thing, the first incident happened. That's when the dismemberment of the construction manager occurred. People whispered that the Sonozaki family had bought out the principal offender. But of course, he fled and they still haven't found him. When she put it that way, the Sonozaki family definitely seems suspicious. Oishi-san even seems to think that the criminal was erased so that he wouldn't talk. Which is pretty reasonable of him. It's even enough to make me think that the Sonozaki main house is doing some really shady things behind the scenes, even though I'm related to them. In like the 18th century or 19th, shoe machines, which were self-automated, which put a lot of French people out of work, were sabotaged by the disgruntled workers putting their shoes in the machine, breaking. Oh! That's interesting. I didn't know that. It makes sense, though. Learn something new. Are you telling me to believe that? That the Sonozaki main house, where Mion lives, has done all those bad things? You're telling me to believe it? Even if you don't, Keiichi, the villagers do. While they oppose the dam in upright and lawful ways, the Sonozaki house did the dirty work for them. Everyone believes that they fought at the front, so they'd take the brunt of that criticism. So they're respected as sort of heroes of darkness. I think I only really know one part of it. For example, the really bad stuff, like the kidnapping, I think only a handful of people even know about it, including Grandma. The Sonozaki family is secretive, after all. Secretive, huh? A family so unforthcoming that even Shion, who's related to them, doesn't know everything about them. The Sonozaki family. Unlike Shion, her older twin Mion was deeply involved with everything. And that was not a fun thought to entertain. Suspecting his bestie, my sister, though young, was the one who acted as the center of the illegal resistance movement. Mion was? What do you mean? Well, our dad is a big shot Yakuza. Even when she was little, my sister managed to subjugate a bunch of young street rats. Then she played all sorts of tricks on them and just generally got in their way. Mion did that? Now she's pretty laid back, so it might be hard to imagine. She did everything, from property damage to threats, and even acts of violence, and she was picked up for it countless times. Mion was French this whole time. Oui. Yes, she was. Now we know. Though since she was a kid, they could get her released pretty easily. She learned that her age could be used as a weapon. It may have been indiscreet, but I couldn't help but chuckle dryly. She may have been young, but she was certainly still Mion. Even back then, she had already been known for her craftiness. Why is he proud of her for this? It's nothing to laugh about. Please, take this seriously. Sorry, I didn't mean to... Shion had gotten pretty angry at me. Well, her delinquency soon got her into a position of authority in the Sonozaki main house. It's not unthinkable that Oishi suspects them for the dismemberment incident, and the later ones too. Commits property damage, Keiichi laughs. I know, he low-key supports it. For a few moments, I was dumbstruck at the tales of Mion's past. None of them matched the image I had of her. A younger Mion, dirtying her hands with all sorts of crimes, giving the dam construction project hell. As the successor to the Sonozaki main family, she was always right at the center of the vortex of strange incidents occurring year after year. Was that really the Mion I know? Maybe the one I know isn't the real Mion. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't bring myself to accept these images of Mion I was hearing from another person. Well, back to the main subject. I just wanted you to know that my sister is someone worth being cautious around. Please, be careful. I didn't want to understand. Mion was a fantastic friend. She would never do something to back me into a corner like that. She did ask me pretty harshly about the night of the festival, but even that, it wasn't like she'd said it in a mean way or anything. Alright, I'll make sure to be careful. We're sisters related by blood, but within the Sonozaki family, we're basically of a different class. I want you to recognize how distant my position is from hers. Please. The more Shion tells me about Mion, the less I understand who Mion is. The Mion I know wasn't a dangerous person. She joked around, smiled a lot, and was full of passion. Now that I'd realized I held such a view towards her, Shion was telling me to change it. To be careful around the best friend ever. Man's really gotta choose between the sisters now. To doubt her. The idea was very sad. And painful. Now, about Ooishi. If you think it's a good idea, then I think we should give him the information he needs. I think getting the police on our side will work in our favor. You thought so too, Shion! It's just, at the moment, like I explained, the police have their eyes on the Sonozaki family already. Ooishi in particular completely believes that they're the masterminds behind the serial incidents. That includes me, of course. So, I don't really want much to do with Ooishi. I see. If Ooishi-san had found out about the Sonozaki family's strife-filled history, then he probably wouldn't be very happy with Shion either. At last, I understood Mion's instinctive dislike for Ooishi-san. It's probably out in the open at this point, but try not to give my name to him. If you agree to that, then I don't think there's a problem with you telling him anything. I got it. I won't mention your name. The police's investigative ability should be quite a reliable weapon for us right now. If Ooishi tells you anything interesting, then let me know as well. Yeah, of course. We'll share information and investigate together. Who killed Takano-san and Tomitake-san? Who was after us? Until we know, we need to defend ourselves. Anything else? Besides what Ooishi told you, I mean. If anything has happened, no matter how minor, please tell me. Aside from my discussion with Ooishi-san? Oh, should I tell her that I revealed everything to Rika-chan? Rika-chan was acting like she knew something I didn't. She told me to leave it to her. But what? Ah, that's right. When I was talking to her, I mentioned Shion's name too. Was that a mistake? I felt like Shion would get angry. Nothing else? Keiichi-chan? I had remained quiet for a little while, so Shion encouraged me to speak, unable to bear the silence. As I struggled with what to say, Shion addressed me instead. It doesn't sound like it, so can I ask you something? I just heard this myself. Is it true? That old man Kimiyoshi went missing? The old man Kimiyoshi? My gut told me that was the name of the mayor. You mean the mayor? Wait, Shion, you haven't heard? I don't know anything. I just overheard my dad talking about it on the phone again. I realized I shouldn't have said that. Here in Hinamizawa, the things that happen around this time, when Oyashiro-sama's curse would recur, would all be covered up. Yeah. Actually, last night, after a meeting, he didn't come home, so all of Hinamizawa was confused. They searched all through the village, but if they found him, then I haven't heard. The police should be searching for him as well. Why didn't you tell me something that important right away? She shouted angrily at me, bringing all her emotion to bear. Sorry, I thought you already knew. I didn't want to hide it or anything. The receiver was silent. Did Shion get mad again and hang up? Hey, Shion! Hello? Keiichi-chan, what should I do? Shion's tiny, confused voice sounded like it belonged to a different person than the one yelling a few seconds ago. You didn't like that sound? They do it a lot when something happens. What's wrong? Tell me. We're not keeping secrets from each other, right? Shion hesitated for a long while, but then she confessed. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hide it. It was just that, the conversation got turned around and... We're on the same side, right? I won't get mad, so tell me honestly. Shion still hesitated for a few moments. Then, in a resigned voice, she continued. Old man Kimiyoshi, I told him everything. Shion seemed to think I would yell at her right after she said that, so I heard her catching her breath. Does this mean Rika's gonna disappear? Not my baby. Contrary to what she thought, I was a little relieved. Shion had done the same thing I had when I confessed everything to Rika-chan. So, in as gentle a voice as I could, so as not to set her off, I responded. Old man Kimiyoshi. He's someone you feel comfortable confiding to, Shion. Yes. When I was little, he was really nice to me. Shion felt the same pain as the rest of us from the mare's disappearance. She had a different kind of strength from Mion, and as she continued, her voice sounded truly sad and pained. All I did was play tricks on him, but he would always just smile. He listened to anything I had to say. He was such a kind person. Calm down, Shion. It's not like he's dead, right? Don't lose heart so easily. Shion didn't answer. Even as I said it myself, I didn't think we'd ever find the missing mare again. We probably wouldn't even figure out if he was alive or dead. Shion must have been thinking the same thing. That night, I told the mayor that we snuck into the ritual storehouse. Also, that someone saw us and was out to get us. Does the mayor know how absurdly Takano-san and Tomitake-san died? Yes, he knew about it. I told him that they died by Oyashiro-sama's curse, and that I could be made a sacrifice to calm his anger. I just said it straight out. Right. What then? Old man Kimiyoshi didn't get angry. He smiled, then told me that if I was properly sorry about it, there's no way I'd be demoned away. He was really smiling. And he told me to leave it to him. Until Shion stopped sobbing, I was unable to find any words for her. I couldn't imagine what kind of person the mayor was, nor what Shion's relationship with him was like. Words of comfort, however, mean so much to us when we're about to be crushed by anxiety. Today, Rika-chan taught me that too. If someone who gave me such a sense of security were to disappear, then I could guess what kind of shock Shion was in. It's my fault. Because I revealed everything. Stop it, Shion. It's not your fault. No! It is my fault! I told him everything! Old man Kimiyoshi found out about everything! So, he has to have been killed! It was right after I told him, after all! He disappeared the same night that I confessed, and he told me everything was going to be alright. He found out, so he became involved. I should never have told him. All of this should have just been our fault. Only the four of us. It wasn't something I should have told to someone else. He got killed because I told him. He got killed because he knew. He got killed because I revealed it. Hey, stop. If they were doing that, then they would obviously have killed you before killing the mayor. The order is all wrong. You or I should have been killed first. Why the hell would someone else get killed first?
No, it's in order. They must be planning to kill us last of all.
Huh? What? What?
They're not killing the first people who come to mind. They start by killing those we're close to. And then, after they've caused us so much pain, they'll kill us. That must be what they're doing.
I said calm down. Shion, you're in shock. You're panicking. The mayor's disappearance has nothing to do with you. It's unconnected. It's not related to Takano-san and Tomitake-san dying at all, either. My words came out as a scream, as if I were shouting them at myself.
No! It is connected. It just has to be. I told him, so he was killed. He got killed because he knew. I confessed it to him, so he got killed.
She repeated the same thing as before, as though she were in a delirium. Despite my trying to console the crazed Shion, for some reason, the shadow at my feet began to freeze. From that shadow, a cold arm reached out, so cold it seemed like it would freeze even my heart just by touching me, and grabbed my ankle. The heat generated by my body, the arm was absorbing it. It was a horrible chill. A freezing, cold, numbingly frigid. It was an inviolable chill of fear. I don't know if I said that right, oops. Though I sympathized with Shion, I'd been naive in thinking it was something only she had to worry about. In my head, Shion's eerie words repeated again and again. He was killed because I told him. He was killed because he found out. I confessed everything. So he was killed. Those words echoed through my head like a monotone mantra. And finally, those even repetitions took on meaning. The quiet shaken that had already overtaken me turned into a violent shiver that shot up my spine.
Rika-chan! It's Rika-chan! What? What did you say just now?
Well, the truth is, I told her about it. I told Rika-chan. Today!
Rika-chan? You mean Rika-chama? The one from the Furude Shrine? Yes, Rika-chan. I felt so scared and uneasy that I did it. I told Rika-chan. When you did, what did she say?
The cat is worrying too much. I'll do something about it for sure. That's what Rika-chan said. And then she smiled. She smiled, just like the missing mayor had when he encouraged Shion. I'm sorry, Shion. I'm worried about Rika-chan.
Right. If you're that concerned, then don't worry about me. Please, go find out whether she's safe.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I'll call you again tomorrow at the same time. When I do, you'll know I'm still all right.
I got it.
I'll be waiting. Okay, bye.
Sorry. I'm hanging up. I put down the receiver without waiting for Shion to say goodbye. The danger to Shion and myself was secondary at this point. My sixth sense was blaring alarms in my head. I don't like this feeling. It's really bad. It's definitely bad. Dang it. Please be safe. Rika-chan.
My baby! Don't take her from me, game. Alright, new tips. How many chapters does this game have? That is a good question. I am not sure. I assume we're getting close to the end, though. But this is the second game in a series of like 10, so we have a long way to go. The Three Families in Modern Times. As previously described, the Three Families Council today is a mere shell of democracy. In reality, it is a dictatorship run by the Sonozaki family.
10 games? Yep. Many, many stories. Both the Kimiyoshi and Furute families are far from their former glory, and it doesn't seem at all like they've maintained the ancient traditions. You gonna play them all? Yes, because I paid for them. Only the Sonozaki family has retained their glory from the past and has inherited the many colorful traditions from the age known as Onikakushi'ed village. There are like question arcs and answer arcs as far as I understand. Yeah. So the question arcs are like the first 5 games, and then the answers are the last 5 games, something like that. Even if the most recent verifiable example of Watanagashi that occurs at the end of the Meiji era seems to have been done under the orders of the Sonozaki family. Refer to the 3 families' genealogical tree from the late Meiji. After the start of the Meiji era, the Sonozaki family wanted to push the development of Hinamizawa village, so they took a strong role in leadership. During the dam wars a few years ago, the Kimiyoshi family served as the chair of the opposition alliance, but this was in name only. In actuality, the Sonozaki family reigned as leader behind the scenes. People whisper that perhaps the Kimiyoshi family dictated acts of opposition that could be publicized, and the Sonozaki family enacted those which could not. Even in Hinamizawa, they whisper that the multitude of unsettling incidents reported during the dam protest, such as the kidnapping of the famous head of the Ministry of Construction's son, had been carried out by the Sonozakis. Additionally, they say that perhaps the Sonozaki family's secret maneuvering was responsible for the serial freak death incidents that have continuously occurred in recent years as well. The serial freak death incidents are without a doubt the second coming of the traditional Watanagashi. They must be enacting the Watanagashi on the day of the original Watanagashi, which had fallen to the level of an ordinary village festival, in order to remind the villagers of the holy laws of Onikakushi'ed village. It's safe to assert that exploring the Sonozaki family is the fastest route for researching it today. If I can expose the contents of the Furute Shrine storehouse, I'd like to narrow my research target to the Sonozaki family next. The Sonozaki house is strictly guarded by security cameras on the premises, but thankfully I've become acquainted with the sisters Mion, the next heir, and Shion. I want this to be a breakthrough I could connect to my next line of research. Ayo, who's writing this? Is it Takano's? Is she friends with both of the Sonozakis? I don't know if they were friends. Their punishment isn't over. No, don't worry about it. You see, when you order the Oden here, for some reason, it ends up on the annual invoice for our gas contracts. So don't be shy and have another drink. The man, red-faced, waved his hand to say that he'd had enough and disappeared into the brilliant neon lights in front of the station. Kuma-chan, you should be taking notes. The most modest people are the ones who live the longest. Was all that true? Well, I don't know about that. Whether or not it's true, I think there's meaning in hearing something that sounds so plausible. Would something like that be a motive to go for the mayor? Kuma-chan, here's what I always say. The motive only has to be enough for the person in question. You need to think about how different people value different things. Hey, bartender, give me another mug. Though we have been suppressing the information, Tomitake and Takano's deaths were already known throughout Hinamizawa. All of the rumors pointed to them having incurred the wrath of Oyashiro-sama for setting foot in the Forbidden Temple, the storehouse for ritual implements. According to the rumors, there were 2 other people who went in there with them, Shion Sonozaki and Keiichi Maebara. People were whispering in the shadows that those 2 would be cursed by Oyashiro-sama as well. Apparently, however, the responsibility didn't fall solely on the 4 trespassers' shoulders. Until last year, it was locked up tight, but this year it had been changed to a simpler lock. Hadn't that been what allowed thieves to enter so easily? Those were the rumors going around. Have you ever seen it, Kuma-chan? I remember it well. I had to go there for something quite a while back. Sorry, I don't really remember. It was locked up so tight it was scary. There were these real heavy bars holding it shut. It was sealed up as good as a bank vault. This year, it was a very simple and cheap padlock. The lone girl protecting the shrine, Rika Furude, disliked the heavy locks and consulted with the mayor, who had replaced it with a simpler padlock. That is sus. So then the mayor and Rika Furude share the crime? So then, after the mayor, wouldn't Rika Furude be in danger next? There's a decent possibility. Kuma-chan, I want you to contact all the cars we have in Hinamizawa. Tell them to stick near the Furude shrine. Got it! So I guess there was more than just Shion and Keiichi telling them about what they did. Interesting. Well, we got some more lore at least. On to chapter 10 next time. But I need to head out because I promised my mom I'd help her with something. So I will end stream here for today. Thank you guys so much for coming. Hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!